This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, thousands of Dunedin school pupils joined others around the country for a nationwide climate protest. The newest addition to Queenstown's retail sector is set to open after years in the planning. And climate change is also on the menu across in central Otago. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. Thousands of Dunedin school pupils abandoned formal lessons to hopefully educate others about the threat of climate change. Amongst them was a university student from Tuvalu, with a passionate speech about her home island, saying it won't exist in 30 years' time.
About 12:30 this afternoon, thousands of Dunedin school pupils and supporters marched to the Octagon for the first of 4 scheduled climate marches this year. Those walking did a lap of the Octagon before listening to speakers, following a welcome from the Kings and Queens Kapa Haka group. Whakasele Kiatoa Yulika was the first official speaker and stunned the crowd as she asked them to remember low-lying Pacific islands like Kiribati, Tokelau and her homeland, Tuvalu.
I want you to be able to say that you visit the island you helped save. We need to remember that we are way past the prevention stage of climate change. It will take a miracle to reverse the damage. And I pray that I'll still be alive to witness this miracle.
Kiatoa Yulika only found out about the climate march yesterday through her cousin, who's also based in Dunedin. She was invited to give an island's perspective, especially as her home is among the islands which are being swallowed by the ocean.
I want people to know that relocating is not an option for us. We don't want to move. We are too attached to our land because it's more than land. And we can't leave everything we know. I'm sorry. I know it's a bit dramatic, but if Tuvalu had to sink, I would rather be on my island than anywhere else.
She says people who still deny the impacts of climate change should visit Tuvalu for a year or so.
We had to create sea walls. We had to have man-made lands and added onto our beaches just to sustain our lands. And I guess going back to the island, it doesn't look the same anymore because we're trying to stay afloat. We're basically trying to stay afloat.
Today's event in Dunedin was part of a nationwide day of action organised by the School Strike for Climate Change group, who coordinate regular environmental actions around the country. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Wooden power poles are making way for fewer new steel poles as part of a long-awaited upgrade of Dunedin's electricity network. Aurora Energy is replacing a stretch of the 6.6 kilovolt line between Berwick and Outram, and a helicopter was used to string the new cable between the new poles. Delta contractors began work on the project in late February and are expected to be finished before winter, with the upgrade extending to Halfway Bush. The line work is part of broader work to improve the network's safety and reliability. One of the most highly anticipated stores in Queenstown is set to finally open its doors next week. Staff at Queenstown's Bunnings are putting the finishing touches on the $40 million premises on Frankton Flats after a protracted process spanning 3 years.
It's been a lengthy process getting this Bunnings store in Queenstown off the ground. But the new store's manager says he and the staff are pleased they're just about to open.
Listen, can't wait. Absolutely can't wait.
The Aussie-based business first applied to Council for consent in April 2017, but commissioners declined the application in March 2018. Bunnings appealed the decision to the Environment Court, which gave the company permission almost exactly 2 years ago, leading to the store now employing a mostly local workforce.
We've got just over 100 team members, and 30 of those have transferred down internally, and 70 locals have successfully secured a job here at Bunnings.
Bunnings Queenstown Complex manager Liam Dawson is one of those who's moved to Queenstown, shifting down from Blenheim. Dawson says there's one facet of their store which really sets them apart.
We've gone very big on our trade offer, and we've got the largest trade yard in New Zealand. And we'll have one account manager coming out of here and two high-ab delivery trucks. And
despite the impacts of COVID, which last year saw 7 of its New Zealand outlets close, Bunnings pushed on with the build, beginning site clearance last May. The store is due to open next week. In Queenstown, the South Today.
A 43-year-old man was taken to Dunedin Hospital after crashing his car over a bank in Stone Street, Kaikorai Valley. Police say the man was the sole occupant of the vehicle, which was driving down Stone Street and failed to take a right-hand bend. The car left the road, went down the bank about 30 metres and became wedged in some trees. The driver was taken to Dunedin Hospital by St John Ambulance. It is believed the man had a medical event. The challenge of making climate change compelling was the focus of an experiment at Dunstan High School. The aim was to see if different ways of presenting the information could be more effective than others.
A $20,000 community science participation project has high school pupils showing each other effective ways of communicating about climate change, all with a simple goal.
We want to see if we can get people to care about climate change, and we also want to see which presentation method is the most effective.
14-year-old Emily Atfield says in one room, Bodecker Scientific Director Greg Bodecker spoke with pupils using a PowerPoint presentation, while in an adjoining room, a 3D model with graphics overlaid shows the potential effects of climate change on the central Otago region. Dunstan High pupil Niall Asher is one of those behind the modelling and says their work easily shows what could happen.
Well, we wrote a program that has 2 screens, one of which is on a projector that shows all your data and you can show it on the map. The other one's a touchscreen that allows people to select what they want to see, so they can select types of data, year, and whether it's a good outcome or a bad outcome.
Data from as far back as the 1970s was used to help predict future scenarios up to the 2090s. Emily Atfield says seeing the high-tech graphics on the 3D model is a very clear way of seeing potential futures.
It's a model of the central Otago area, and it projects, using mirrors, it projects scenarios over the next sort of 100 years with different emissions with different situations.
Options on the screens include annual maximum and minimum temperature increases, frost days, heavy snowfall days and snow-covered days. Niall says using a 3D model to project climate change data enables people to easily visualise how different climate scenarios look.
It's mostly about showing what could happen, because a lot of people don't seem quite aware of the dangers of climate change, and it seems that showing someone something in 3D where they can really look at it and see it is quite effective compared to just a map on a screen. Now, when you can see a mountain you're familiar with and see how it's going to affect it, it's reliable.
The three-dimensional model was constructed using 3D printed tiles, which were then painted white for images to be projected onto. In Alexandra, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, control of Dunedin's CCTV cameras will return to the Dunedin City Council after a spate of unruly behaviour around the city. And we have the return of Rugby Chat with Paul Dwyer, so catch this and more after the break.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have got a deal for you. We're going hard, we're going early, so we've gone hard on the prices, 50% off, a great selection. Shorts, look at all these shorts. T-shirts, they're all half price. Check out all those tees along there. What about all these ones down here? Also at a great saving, 50% off. We're going hard, we're going early. Polo shirts, short sleeve shirts, there's such a variety.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
It's the Alex Campbell Menswear. Go hard, go early, summer sale. Don't miss this one.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Welcome back. Control of more of Dunedin's CCTV cameras, including those in the Under Fire Bus Hub area, will shift to the Dunedin City Council within the next month. Currently, the cameras at the bus hub, a site of increasing reports of violence and disorder amongst youths, are not switched on. It appears there's been a hold-up between switching responsibility for the cameras from the Otago Regional Council to the Dunedin City Council. The 11 cameras to be transferred will be added to the Council's existing network of more than 200 CCTV cameras, most of which are inside Council-owned buildings. The current network also has 13 cameras operating in the Octagon, which are already monitored by police. An Otago cherry business is looking for investors to fund a pack house and orchard expansion at its cherry orchards. In recent years, Deep Creek Fruits has been busy planting over 100 hectares of cherry trees on former sheep and beef farmland near Terrace. New expansion plans include purchasing and developing additional land for cherry production and establishing the pack house. The company's first cherries are set to be harvested and exported this summer, targeting growing international markets. Investors can purchase partnership interests in the development with a minimum investment at $105,000. Tonight we have the return of Rugby Chat for another season, a segment looking at club rugby around the region. Tonight host Paul Dwyer discusses the low numbers of available referees with Tumua Ioni and
Welcome to ODT Rugby Chat for another year, sponsored by my old mate Gerald Orr from Garage Door over in Corica Valley. Looking for a garage door, he's the man to go and see. Look, we're finally up and running. Look, I'm writing a story for the ODT tomorrow, and soccer have had far too much airtime in the ODT over the last few weeks. But club rugby, rest assured, is back. It'll be big on the ODT tomorrow. It'll be big on the ODT on Monday. And also on Saturday, just remember, go to the ODT website. It's a very simple process. Go to the ODT website, go to Club Rugby, and we'll be live. We'll be doing live score updates of all the Premier games. And we'll do a video just before the games start. We'll do one again at half time, and we'll do one again at full time. That, by the way, brought to you this year by my old mate Hardy at Liquorland, who was supposed to be on the show today, but he felt, he's a TMO this weekend, he didn't want to come out and say something controversial like our poor old mate from the Highlanders who got himself into trouble this week, Tamua. But you wouldn't be saying anything like that?
Never.
Good to go. So I've got Tamua Ione here today. He's the referee development officer, got his hand in some coaching, and I've got Finchy, Hayden Finch, who's got a new job this year. He's now running Speight's marketing for the whole world. Sponsorship for the whole world for Speight's. The man to go to, and of course you've also got another job, because what are you doing at Green Island? You are doing what for them this year?
Bit of a director of rugby at Green Island.
So let's talk about refereeing now. Now I'm hearing some pretty strong rumours that things are tough and for refereeing numbers.
Big time. Let's be honest, we go down, have a look in Balclutha or down south. The average age is around 55 to 56. In that region, the average age in Central is about 40, 45, 47. And then in town, 1 week you could have 71 games, and at the moment we've got about 35 referees registered.
Right, see, but that's you're at crisis point when you're talking about 70 odd games you need to referee, and you're at 35 referees. So basically what you're saying right at the moment is every referee is doing 2 games.
Big time.
Okay, so who do they contact?
Myself, so get a hold of me at the union, find me on the websites.
Okay, so look, there it is. We'll be back with you again next week, but just before we finish, look, I'm going to go, look, Tyree, I think will be too strong for Varsity, and I think it could be 13 plus. I'm picking Harbour to beat Southern, although I watched Southern play Dunedin last week and I thought they were pretty competitive. In fact, they might have even beaten Dunedin in that game. Dunedin versus Kike, just about call that a draw, but I'd never pick Kike, so I'll take Dunedin. And GIAU, I think GI, yeah, possibly a wee bit strong, but I'm hearing some reasonably good reports coming out of AU, so I'm picking GI to win that. And just thanks to Garador and Gerald Earl, our sponsor, and we'll be back with you again next week.
And you can watch the full interview online at odt.co.nz. Still to come on the South today, a return to rugby matches between Australia and New Zealand could be on the cards again as plans for a Trans-Tasman bubble take form. And we take a look at the weather for you heading into the weekend. So see you after the break.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have got a deal for you. We're going hard, we're going early, so we've gone hard on the prices, 50% off, a great selection. Shorts, look at all these shorts. T-shirts, they're all half price. Check out all those tees along there. What about all these ones down here? Also at a great saving, 50% off, we're going hard, we're going early. Polo shirts, short sleeve shirts, there's such a variety.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
It's the Alex Campbell Menswear, go hard, go early, summer sale. Don't miss this one.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Thanks for staying with us. Matches between Australian and New Zealand rugby teams have been announced following plans to create a Trans-Tasman bubble later this month. Some of the Highlanders say they are definitely looking forward to the chance to play against an overseas team for a change.
After not playing against any overseas teams for over a year due to COVID-19, Highlanders co-captain Ash Dixon admits he's keen to take on some Australian muscle now that the borders look set to reopen.
Well, if we do get across the ditch, I would like to play an Aussie team, something a bit different. Played the same guy the last couple of years a few times now, pretty much know his family, so no, it would be great to change it up a bit, but it's clearly out of my league, so I'll just get on with it.
The team are scheduled to play against the Australian Reds at Forsyth Bar Stadium in the middle of May. But Dixon has more imminent games on his mind, with the team up against the well-rested Chiefs tomorrow night.
I've got to get out there and do my job, and whether that's playing a Kiwi team, an Aussie team or a Japanese team, it's whoever's in front of us, and I've got to do my job. So I'll be stoked to play the Aussies, I wouldn't lie, but at the moment it's the Chiefs in front of us that we've got a massive challenge.
Before their last match, the Highlanders dropped 6 players for breaking team standards. Dixon says the naughty half dozen will now be allowed to rejoin the team in upcoming matches.
Yeah, it was a tough week for them, I'm not going to lie. They got put through the ringer a bit, and they let the team down, and it was pretty obvious when the boys were watching them and they were still out there training and had to do a fair bit that they took their punishment on the chin, and we reflected on that on a Monday. We caught up with them, had a bit of a yarn with them, and a lot of those boys are really remorseful and really hungry to get back in the team, and Brandy's given those guys another chance to add to our group, and this competition, it just can't be 23 guys, it has to be everybody contributing, so those guys get a crack this week.
The game between the Highlanders and the Chiefs kicks off at Forsyth Bar Stadium at 5 minutes past 7 tomorrow night. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Thousands of Dunedin school pupils joined others around the country for a nationwide climate protest. The newest addition to Queenstown's retail sector is set to open after years in the planning. And climate change is also on the menu across in Central Otago. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Hayden Meikle. What have you got for us in the weekend's paper?
Good evening, Mel. Yes, it's the weekend, so obviously Saturday's paper is always full of lots of good bits and pieces. We start with trains, not planes, not automobiles, just trains. Dunedin Railways obviously is a hot topic still. Last year mothballed during COVID, came back with that sort of limited service over the summer. It was quite popular, I think. So next week the council is sitting down and considering, okay, what are we going to do now? There are 4 options on the table. Don't ask me to list them all, but I can tell you that one of them is looking at the possibility of selling or leasing the trains to an outside organisation, which is interesting, raises all sorts of interesting prospects. The other options, of course, are the DCC retaining some sort of interest in the services or perhaps shutting them down completely. So our man Grant Miller is still busy writing a story, wading through the reports and having a look at the options, and we're going to be running a poll. So for viewers and readers, tomorrow they will have a chance to have a look at our poll questions and ring in and let us know what they think. It'd be interesting to see what the public feeling is on that train.
It'd be really interesting to see which way people actually want to go.
I think a lot of people like the idea of it, but of course we need more than just the idea of it. The train needs to sort of be sustainable. We need to be confident that the tourists or visitors will come back. So let's see. And as we've seen tonight, obviously climate change protests today, the school strike for climate. The kids, the young adults came out in their droves today in Dunedin, and I believe Oamaru as well. We've got a nice little selection of photos there, some great images and some very clever placards getting their message across, so very interesting.
Yeah, I must say big ups to them for getting out there and expressing their concerns.
Absolutely, and all doing it off their own bat too, so it's a great program. And we've got a lovely yarn on a woman, Val, who has worked at Forsyth Bar in Dunedin, forget this, not 40 years, not 50 years, but 60 years. 60 full years full-time work at the same place is a remarkable record. Here at the ODT we've got lots of old-timers, myself included obviously, getting fairly grey, but 60 years is a magnificent effort, so we are going to recognise that with a lovely story and photo on Val on page 1 tomorrow. So all that and heaps more.
Wonderful, thank you. And you can catch all of that in tomorrow's ODT. And now it's time for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, a ground view of today's protest in the Octagon today. A trough of low pressure will bring rain to the region tomorrow and strong northerly or northeasterly winds. Airflow will tend west to southwesterly on Sunday with showers on the ranges and high cloud, but mostly fine weather out east. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, time to bring out the umbrellas. Showers are expected for everyone in this region with also light winds. Greymouth reaches 19 degrees and Westport 18. Moving to the northeast, similar here with showers and light to moderate winds with 18 degrees for both Nelson and Blenheim. Heading to the Canterbury region, it's rain here for this area as well with 19 degrees in Kaikoura and Christchurch and 22 degrees for Ashburton. Both Ashburton and Christchurch will see strong gusty winds. Moving to the southern towns, gusty northeasterlies with a bit of rain here for most, with 18 degrees for Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. It's similar in the Catlins as well, with rain more established and 19 degrees. Heading across to the central region, rain eases for most here with strong northeasterlies and 20 degrees for Queenstown, Wanaka and Alexandra, while it's due to be 17 degrees in Te Anau with strong northerlies and rain. Moving to the northern towns, gusty northeasterlies with some rain here with 19 degrees in Timaru, 18 degrees in Oamaru and further inland sees strong northerlies and 22 degrees for both Twizel and Amarama. In Dunedin, cloud increasing tonight with a low of 10. Overcast tomorrow morning with some outbreaks of light rain and freshening northeasterlies. Rain clears in the early afternoon with a break in the afternoon as well. Mild and humid. Tomorrow's high is 19 and a low of 13 degrees. Fine and warm at first on Sunday with sunshine and high cloud and moderate northerlies, but some showers will develop during the afternoon with variable winds. Looking at a high of 22 and a low of 12. And in Invercargill, fine with high cloud increasing tonight with an overnight low of 13. Cloudy but mostly dry tomorrow, the odd spit of rain possible during the afternoon with northeasterlies becoming fresh and gusty. Still mild and humid. A high of 18 and a low of 14. Cooler west to southwesterlies freshening on Sunday with sunny periods and some cloud. A high of 16 and a low of 9. And that's all from the South Today team for this Friday, and in fact the week. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening and a lovely weekend. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.